Okay, so hi, I am Unconventional Cross Stitch, and I thought I would give you a little bit of an overview as to how I cross stitch and how I set myself up so that maybe you guys can take a few hints and tips from me. So let's get started. So this is my beautiful work in progress. It's called A Beautiful Death. Its original artwork came from a Adelaide, Australia lady called Cassandra Skylock, but she prefers the name Cassie. So I've done it on 18 count. It's hand-dyed fabric. I have the edges overlocked. It was a standard part of the fabric that I bought, which is just as well. I don't know how to use a sewing machine, least of all an overlocker. This is my very, very old frame. It allows me beautiful hands-free stitching, so I actually stitch with two hands. The part that I bitch about a lot in my blogs is this. See how it's like pretty free rotating and wobbly, so I rely on my couch arm to balance it out and then sit at a really bad angle to try and cross stitch from. But it's a very old frame and I don't think they're made anymore despite countless Google searches. So this is how I attach my pattern. I'm very old school. I don't use an iPad. I don't believe in staring at screens for that long and then trying to stare at little itty bitty crosses. So I sort of cut a little piece out so that it doesn't interfere with what I'm stitching with, and I just stick it on. I use masking tape. If you do anything like this, don't use like the brown tapes or anything like that, because when you pull it off, you're going to end up with really, really ugly fabric because it's going to pull at the threading. This is pretty light work, so it won't damage my stuff, but you have to replace it because it doesn't stick for that long. Anyway, so that's it. It's folded over, a little sticky bit in the middle, so it's nice and compact, and I can see everything that I'm doing. And you can see I highlight as I go so that I know where I have been. When you've been cross stitching as long as I have, you can sort of like quite easily recognize where you're looking at, but I do it anyway. So the rest of my setup, I got my, oh, there goes my highlighter, itty bitty pair of scissors. I use my masking tape roll to hold my highlighter so that I don't end up with highlighter all over the couch, thus an angry husband. This is what I use for my needles. I love this. They were called snake magnets. My brother, years and years ago, kind of gave them to me without ever realizing he gave them to me. He still doesn't know they're missing. But they're really good for holding on to the needles. As you can see, I have a lot of needles. They're all different sizes, so this keeps them all together and I don't really lose any, which is nice. There's nothing worse than sitting or treading on a needle. I also use these. I call it my little thread minder, and this holds all my threads. I've basically made 2 copies of the symbol chart, and I've cut all the little sizes out, as you can see, and stuck them in there because my drawing skills are also pretty average when it's that small. So I've written them, and I've also got the colour number in there. So every time I move on to another colour, if I've got some leftover thread from the length I've cut, I'll just stick it in here, and it makes it a bit quicker when I need to use that colour again, or if I accidentally miss a square of that colour. I can just grab a little needle out and go back to it. It's pretty messy. It looks worse than it is. They're not actually knotted, it's just the way they seem to sit. So anyway, that's my setup. I'll show you a bit more of the frame. So see how it really easily twists over. My back of my cross stitch is ugly. I don't know whether that's normal. A lot of people seem to have beautiful backs. Mine is ugly as sin, but it does the job. And it's pretty confetti-like anyway, so I do have a lot of starts and stops. I am going to make another video shortly, and I'll show you how I cross stitch. My name goes further than just the designs I make. I am literally an unconventional cross stitcher. I don't obey any of the rules as far as I know for cross stitching. So anyway, hope you enjoyed my setup and you learnt a little something. And also you would have seen, I don't know whether you can see me, but this is my headlamp. It's really, really, really handy. My hubby gave me this. He works in the mines, so he brought me back this handy little toy, and I will show you the difference it makes. So, as you can see, it lights up everything really nicely. So, without, with, it's invaluable. I can cross stitch a lot longer and I don't end up with sore eyes using a headlamp. So I can't highlight enough how important it is to have good lighting. Even when my window is open like today and you've got full light, it's really important. It just gives you that extra oomph and you don't go blind trying to find all the teeny tiny holes that are in there. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I'd love to have your feedback on my first video, and yeah, we'll catch you on the flip side.